All right, we back. And hopefully this time I'm not echoing. So you can still hear me, right?
I can still hear you.
Okay. So everyone that's on, can you please let me know if it's still echoing? Is it still echoing? This is really crazy. It is? Okay, is it still echoing now? Shawnee, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, is it still echoing?
It's not echoing to me. It sounds normal to me.
Okay, finally. Whew. All right, so let's get into this. I'm not sure what's going on because normally it does not do this. I have no clue what's going on. So I was saying that Shawnee's uncle, which was my dad, uh, raised me since I was a baby
Hmm.
as his own. And I thought that was the most unselfish thing to do. And he raised me um, as his own, so I knew no different. And this young lady, all I remember is you couldn't tell me that she wasn't my sister because she was always around. She was always around us when we went on family vacations. When somebody was needed to babysit us, she was always there.
Hmm.
Even though I was the oldest, all this anointing in one place. Hush up, Myra. Um, um, she was a sister to me that I didn't have, an older sister, I would say. With her being the youngest, she has an older sister and she has an older brother.
Right.
Those were my extended siblings.
Hmm.
When they couldn't get Pam, which is her sister, they would get Shawnee. And everything I learned, and I don't think I ever told her this, but a lot of things that I've learned as an adult, I learned a lot of lessons from her. Um, those moments when you see on TV where you have the cousins and the sisters staying in one bedroom,
Hmm.
Shawnee was my pillow.
Yes, I was.
I was a very, very wild sleeper. Love her brother's passing. So I was a very wild sleeper, and Shawnee was my pillow. She comforted me during the hardest times of my life, during the moments of adolescence. She was there for me. She was. You are how many years older than me?
Well, I'm 50.
So 7. So
7.
she's 7 years older than me,
Mhm.
and she was already learning life before me. So back in the day, hey Leah, Steph, Myron, God make everything beautiful in His timing. Yes. So what I remember of my cousin slash sister back then, she was no joke. You didn't want to mess with her. You did not want to mess with her. She was an awesome fighter. And a lot of the things that I learned, I learned from her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Back then, as I said, she was older than me. So a lot of the things, good, bad, or indifferent, I also learned from her. The do's and don'ts, because she was already doing it.
I was a
Um,
good girl.
yeah, okay. So, a lot of things that I got to see firsthand through Shawnee.
Yeah.
So I wanted to pin you with your flowers now
Uh,
because you were very inspirational to me. Growing up as well as in my adulthood.
well, thank you.
I learned about puzzles. I learned
Yeah.
about not taking no mess from nobody. I don't care who it
Mm-hmm.
is. I learned to stand up for myself, and a lot of that stuff. I remember you being in ROTC,
Oh Lord, yeah. 4 years. I was an hour.
and you were highly ranked,
Yes.
and this woman has a lawyer mind. I'm still mad at her that she didn't go to law school. However, I digress.
Right. Thank you.
So let's get into you growing up.
Okay.
What was your growing up like? I know your father passed when you were young, right?
Yes, when I was 3.
Okay. So how was it being in that type of environment without having your father there?
I don't know. I had fathers. I didn't have my father, but I had fathers. I call your daddy Uncle Ronnie Uncle Daddy. So I've always had males willing to step in and fill the role of father in my life. So
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. And also a lot of the things that I show you, I knew because it was shown to me. That's how we were raised. So what they gave me, I gave you. It's always been that way in this family. It trickle down. If someone say, this is my family, then the whole family say, well, this is our family. That's how it is. It's not a bias. We love you regardless. Nobody's perfect. No matter what your faults are, if you're in this family, you're loved regardless. We accept everyone for who they are. So,
Absolutely.
not absolutely not to say we ain't have conflict, but we had conflict with each other. We ain't let anybody else outside the family come in and have conflict with us. We stood united as a family. So I think that was, that benefited us all. You know, but I tell Lenore, said when they were growing up, it was a saying, my brothers and sisters against my cousins, but it's me and my cousins against the world. So, because your siblings are always going to take up for you no matter who it is. But in our family, we had so many cousins that if anybody picked with us, we was like a gang, you know, everybody had the baby, at the same time. So we always had groups growing up together.
That is true. So
Hmm.
I remember, like I said, I'm gonna keep on harping on this part that I didn't understand that I was not your sister, your blood sister, because we were always around. Um,
Right.
it was my personal protector when I hit my teenage years and I had questions about life.
Hmm.
You always had a moment to tell me what was about to happen or what was going on with me.
Hmm.
My mom was. I remember the first day. You know, the first of the cycle, right?
Right.
You and Pam was the first one. It wasn't my mom. It was y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to learn the ropes from you guys. And then my mom came home later that evening to have the conversation with me. But those moments right there came
Mm-hmm.
from you and Pam
Right.
to tell me, oh, you into motherhood, whatever you want to call it. Like, yeah, y'all can keep all this. But however,
Womanhood. Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
it wasn't my mom. It was you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, also, and I am so happy. I'm definitely gonna get Pam on here and my own brother, and hopefully your brother.
Right.
But Pam told me that it was okay, and you did also that it was okay to be me. For
Yes,
those who do
definitely.
not know, back then I was one of the biggest tomboys ever.
Boys. Right. But that was all right. You
The
you were
biggest
who you were.
tomboy.
Yeah. That's all right. You couldn't tell now,
No,
but you're glamour now, but then that's the stage you were in. So that's what families do. They support, they uplift, they stand in the gap for you. So, when your mother wasn't home and here come, auntie, you know what coming. Of course, we there. We're gonna guide you, because if it was us in that situation, we would have had some female in the family to step up and let us know what to do. And so, like I said, when you have that foundation of family, then that's all you know. That's all we knew to do, you know? So that was our foundation.
absolutely. So,
Hmm.
like I said, when I first started talking, I learned so much from you guys. I even had the privilege. I think most of your high school year, you were at my house.
Yes, I was.
I'm not sure if you got kicked out, but I know you got expelled from high school a lot.
Not high school. That was middle school. I never got expelled from high school because I learned my lesson. But middle school, honey, them letters was coming every other week, every other week. But on my way to high school, a couple of my cousins sat me down and was like, "Look, girl, get smart about this. You can't be doing all that in high school." So, I learned my lesson. But yes, I was at your house every other weekend in the summertime, weeks at a time. I remember Evelyn, your mother, telling me once, "I need an extra bedroom for you and Trinita over here, because y'all about living here." And we were. Yes.
Yes, that was definitely my foundation between the two.
Hmm.
Trinita, who's in California,
Yeah.
and you guys were always at my house. So
Always.
I had my own big sisters with me.
Hmm.
Um, and I want to say one of you guys, I can't remember who, it was between the two, but let me know um, that my father, my dad, wasn't my biological dad,
Hmm.
father, whatever you want to call it.
That
And
wasn't me.
it was kind of like, huh?
Hmm.
Because I didn't know any different. I was never treated any different.
Right.
So I was like, mine is still echoing. I don't know what in the,
It's still after.
you guys are, is it still echoing? This must be something powerful that, The
I
devil do not
declare.
want me to talk about today.
Right.
Okay. So, um, my parents never actually told me anything different.
Hmm.
That he wasn't my father. This was, something different. No, he never said anything.
Hmm.
Um, and I had you guys with grandma. Oh my God, the sweetest woman on earth.
Yes, she was. Yes.
Um, the things that was taught to you
Hmm.
from your older cousins, like you said, it trickled down to me,
Hmm.
which we learned from grandma and her sisters.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
They did not play that.
Our family believe in sharing,
Yes.
and if one had it, we all had it.
We all had it.
I don't care if we went um out of town,
Oh, busloads of us went
bus
out of town.
loads
Yes.
going out of town.
On more than one occasion every summer. For like 4 or 5 summers, we get a busload of family. We hit Atlantic City, North Carolina. We was going places. I think we hit
And I
Atlantic
don't
City
know
a
where
couple of
this
times.
coming from, of all of us dressing alike,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
but we didn't.
We did.
I wanted to get into, so your middle school, high school, like I said, I touched on ROTC. She is a graduate of Denby High School, which I wanted to go to, but my mama won't let me.
Yay, them Charles. Hmm. That's funny. My oldest daughter graduated from Debbie as well.
Yeah, I wanted to go to Denby, but yeah, my mom was like, no. And just to pin the story, cousins was the game. You mess with one cousin,
You,
they
yeah,
all coming,
they all coming for you.
male
Yeah.
and females.
Hmm.
So yeah, my mom was like, no, you're not going to
Hmm.
Denby.
Right.
So you out of high school. What is your next step?
Uh, what was my next step? I don't know. I probably should have went to college, but you, I had the mindset when I got out of high school. Ooh, I am tired of school. I do not want to go to any more school. If I knew then what I know now, I would have had a different mindset. But back then I didn't, so I went and got a job.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so from a distance, because again, as I stated, she's 7 years older than me. From a distance, I was watching her.
Hmm.
And in those moments, because I felt like you had a temper back then.
Yeah, I
Where
have
did
one
you?
now. But the difference back then and now is that the Lord leads me now versus me trying to figure it out on my own back then. Yeah.
Yes, Pam, she was very smart and still smart. I don't know nobody who can do logical puzzles
I
and be
love
done.
logical
Like, you don't
puzzles.
get it? Like, wait, huh? How did you understand that?
I know I used to do them by the bookload.
Yes,
I
she
used to
did.
have like 4 or 5 of them at a time. I still have some in the house.
So when do you feel like, because I know we were all raised in church. That's the
Hmm.
the basis of our families. We
Hmm.
grew up in church. We
Yeah.
were active in church.
Yeah.
But when and where did you feel like the Lord started calling you, or was something different about your walk?
Wow. I think when I was younger. I knew it was. I knew I had a calling. But and I was seeing glimpses of what he was calling me to. But then I didn't know the Lord like I know him now. So I was trying to run from it. And that gift just kept chasing me and chasing me and chasing me. It just would not let me alone. And so, because even from the time I was 16, I had people calling me evangelist or missionary or some type of title in the church. And I was like, no, that's not what I want to do. But as I gradually grew up and got older, I just, I never truly left the Lord, even if I wasn't fully walking in the gift. I never left him. I knew who he was. I knew how to pray. I had that foundation already built. And so I think I was me into my 40s when I finally said, yes, I have a calling on my life. And it really wasn't until a year or two where I fully started to accept it.
Okay.
And really over this past year, I I've been growing in it by leaps and bounds. And I think it was because when my auntie Linda passed, and I just felt so brokenhearted because really my auntie Linda was to me what you're saying I am to you. You know what I'm saying? She was the auntie I could go and talk to, and but all of my aunties really, but she was, uh, she was just that one for me. And so when she passed, I was like, wow, this is a really big hit after we've taken so many hits over the last few years. And I was like, Lord, I just sat on my couch and I was like, Lord, I really don't know what to do. And that's when he was like, I've been here all the time, you know, I'm just waiting on you. And so when we were at the funeral, I got up and I had some words at the funeral. And then our cousin April came up and she was like, you know what? When I pass away, I want you to do my eulogy. And I'm like, huh? Excuse me. But and so it opened my eyes, even though I couldn't see it in me, other people would see it. And so I just pray, Lord, show me what you're showing so many. Take the veil off, open up my eyes and let me see. And so now I'm just trying to get where he can really and truly use me.
Yes, we've had those conversations. I also wanted to understand, we have been taught or grew up in having, I feel like, a balanced life. Like, we
Hmm.
did church, we
Yes.
did activities,
Hmm.
but home was home.
Home
Um,
with that. Hmm.
we played lots of games. Oh my God.
Always. Always. A
Our
closet full of
grandmother was the queen of her and Auntie Evelyn was the queens of zilch. If y'all don't
yes.
know how to play that, you need to learn.
You need to learn.
Um our family was into was it Keno?
Keno.
And in the later years it was sorry. So
Hmm.
we had the privilege of staying in the same house with grandma, and I live next door to grandma.
Hmm.
And when I tell you, those are the moments that I miss the most.
I do too. Yeah.
Being able to get up, actually, where we were, Auntie was
Hmm.
across the street,
Hmm.
Grandma was next door, you were in the same house with her. It was family all day.
All day long. Hmm.
You could at any moment see any of our cousins, anybody would
Hmm.
be between these three houses.
Oh yeah.
And I truly miss what that represented for us.
Yes. And but see, that's our fault. We are the ones that are falling down on the job. We have to start to build it back up because we were already taught what family meant. It gave you a sense of community. You know, it made you feel safe and supported. I've never went anywhere with my family and felt unsafe. You know, whether it was with my male cousins, female cousins, if anybody tried to pick on us, you always had the male cousins. Hey, don't do that. Don't do that. They would come out the woodworks. We have a huge family. So, if one person hollered, they would come out the woodworks. So they always um supported you, stood in the gap, whatever you needed. If one did it this time, then the other one did it next time, but it was always someone there to pick up the slack. And really was nothing for us to get together on a Sunday after church. We did this every Sunday. One person, Auntie Evelyn, would used to say, well, I'm going to stop at Church's Chicken or Popeye's Chicken. And, somebody would cook greens, somebody cook macaroni and cheese, potato salad. Sometimes turkey and dressing we had on the regular. Though a lot of people say that's a holiday dish. We had it on the regular. And so wherever you cook, we would just put it all together in a potluck and everybody ate. We didn't know what hunger was. We didn't know what going without was. When we were kids, we didn't think we were poor. Now, if I have a conversation with my mom and she, girl, I was struggling. We was poor, but
We
she
didn't know
had.
that.
We didn't know that she had a support system. You know what I'm saying? And so if she ever says she needed, and a lot of times you didn't have to say you need, if the family saw a need, they would just automatically come in. Somebody would call you up and say, honey, what you need? What you going through? You missed too many family gatherings. Somebody was calling you up. Girl, I ain't seen you in a month of Sundays. Where you at? You know, why wasn't you there? They held you accountable, showing your face. We always had to go represent your side of the family, your portion of the family. Someone had to be there. And so I think that's what made our bond so strong. Half the game nights we had at Grandma Steen house was not planned. One or two of her kids would show up with her grandkids, so they're calling the other two saying, hey, we over here, why don't y'all come on over, why don't y'all stop by? And before you know it, we have a house full. We breaking out the sorry and connect four and a chessboard and all these games. Somebody watching TV, somebody in the kitchen cooking, usually my mama in the kitchen cooking, or your dad in there. But that's what family was.
We those moments, especially when those last moments where grandma wasn't at the house,
Hmm.
and I take the moment of Soul Food, the
Hmm.
movie,
Right.
and at any moment we can go in that front closet. Grandma, what game you want to play today?
Hmm.
And we'll end up playing this game for hours.
Hours.
That was her pastime.
Hmm.
You can go across the street at Auntie Evelyn's house, and there was a puzzle on the table for
Always.
anybody to sit down
Hmm.
and put in puzzle pieces.
Right. Not the last piece, but
Not the last piece.
right.
But after it was done, she had it, laminated and made, and there was a picture on the wall that you could say you had a hand in putting this picture together.
Right. Right.
I explained this to someone before, and they was like, "Man, that's a good tradition." Those are the moments. Matter of fact, I bought 2 boxes of puzzles that I have not put together yet.
Hmm.
That I'm going to do,
Hmm.
and just have it there, have it laminated. Like, okay, this is what I want to put on my wall.
Right.
Grandma, I don't know. You could never beat her in sorry.
No, you can.
I think she was cheating.
Who
And
she
then
gonna
she would get mad, especially you. Oh, your mama. Oh my God, they would get mad that you didn't make the logical decision
get?
on putting somebody back in home.
Right.
You will get cussed all the way out in holy words.
Right. Why you put me
Why
back?
you
Don't
didn't
you see they
put?
going in the
You
home?
see, she close to home.
Right.
See, that's
She
why I don't
already
want to
got
play with
two
y'all.
in there. Y'all make a person not want to play.
Exactly. Now
Right.
you
We
know
was
right there.
passionate. We was passionate about our game night. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Oh, so for those who didn't know, Thanksgiving night, no, Black Friday is when we would play Keno,
Mhm.
and you can come up. That's all I'm gonna say. You might come in there with $5. You can come up,
Yes.
get the right board.
Ooh, Auntie was good. Auntie Evelyn was good at picking them boards.
Yes,
Mhm.
I think it was certain boards you better not even touch. You better not even look at it
You knew they were hers, right?
because they was always hitting.
Mhm.
Now, your sister said we had drama, but we kept it in the family because we
Yeah.
love one another.
Exactly.
And even in moments when we was not together, I knew I had some people that cared,
Mhm.
but then somewhere in your brain, you like, I feel like I'm by myself. I'm on the island by myself, and
Mhm.
you isolate yourself.
Right.
And we know that that's a trick of the enemy.
Exactly.
But I knew I had people who was in my corner,
Mhm.
and some of the things that I dealt with in life, I chose not to tell my family because
Mhm.
whatever was in my brain.
Mhm. Right.
But I knew I had you, I had Pam, and low key, I watched Pam on all the boyfriend things not to do, who not to talk to,
Right.
and my beauty tips.
Oh yes.
Pam told me one day that you gonna grow out of being a tomboy and you gonna blossom, you gonna come out of this cocoon and you gonna be this beautiful butterfly. And I'm like, girl, please, whatever. I'm a
Mhm.
tomboy for life.
Mhm. She's prophesying over you.
Was she not?
Wasn't right.
And I didn't believe her.
Mhm.
I didn't. But over time, it happened.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, it was so many things that you, as my cousin, remind me of my grandmother.
Oh yeah.
Grandma had the praying mantle,
Mhm.
and even though people probably thought my grandma was quiet, she was a quiet
Honey.
storm.
Yes, she was.
You bet
She
not.
was quiet until she felt the need to speak out, and then you felt her authority. You know, for the most part, she was soft spoken, and I love you, honey. She was always willing to give you a hug, a kiss. She was the one that tried to chastise you and my a meek way. But if you wanted to be hard headed and stubborn, when I say at 4 foot, what was she, 9, 10? She could whip it out on you. But all the sisters, Evelyn, Ernestine, Auntie Elizabeth, and Eleanor, they all have that. You know, Auntie Evelyn wasn't that quiet though.
No,
but she was the oldest, so she was used to speaking out. But all of them have their quiet side until you make them, you know, go to the other side. And then, honey, back up. It usually took our Uncle Daniel to talk about the Shepherd sisters. He say everybody in the neighborhood knew not to mess with them because if you mess with one, you had to mess with all of them. We all knew that. All these 4 foot something women walking down, marching down the street like what's her name in the color purple?
oh, not
Over
Stevie.
where
I know
she?
the other one.
Yeah. Sophia in the color purple. He say, don't make them march down that street. He used to have us rolling about the 4 sisters. But they were just as they stood up for each other, they taught us to do the same. Now you don't get in between them. If they messing with each other, stay out of it. But they could pick on each other. But couldn't nobody else come and do it. And that's what they
Absolutely.
taught us. Absolutely. So yeah, we had our battles within the family. We had our disagreements, but the disagreement was never greater than the love. The love always outweighed everything else. You know,
Absolutely.
absolutely. They'll give you your moment to, be mad, but then they be like, "Girl, get over it. It's over and done with."
Um, so let's go into um Marion or Marion George.
Okay. What you want to know? Which I met George when I was 20. Now he say 21, I say 20. I met uh, George when he was 20. We end up getting married when we were like 28 or 29, somewhere around there. We end up getting married. So we've been married 21 years, but we've been together 29, almost 30 years.
Right.
Hmm.
Um, so he has been that cousin, like he knew how to, play poker, play spades, bid with all
Oh,
these things. I'm still
yeah.
waiting on him to teach me about poker.
Oh, yeah. Um, we used to have a card club and we would play. They didn't really play spades because they said once you learn bid whist, you put the
That was
spades
it.
down. That was it. So they play spades and poker a lot. And before I met him, I couldn't play bid whist. Now, you remember, I think it was you and I that were together over Rhonda house when Armin and his friend was
Kept
playing bid
talking.
whist and kept cheating, putting all the aces in. But they couldn't get away with it now if they tried. Now I done learned some tricks of the trade. But yeah, George was the one that taught me all that.
So from this union, we have my three cousins slash god sisters.
Yes.
And at the time, I believe we were living next door
Hmm.
when I want to say when all three of them was born.
When
I
Kyla
know Kyla and
and
Daytona for sure.
yes, not Haley.
Well, I had baby fever with Kyla.
Hmm. Hmm.
At any moment, I will go get her,
Hmm.
stay with you, stay under you. When you had Kyla, I couldn't get enough of her.
Hmm.
Um, and I saw you transform from being um just every day to this Wonder Woman.
I think all women are. You have to. That's your child. You know what I'm saying? That's your baby. You have to. We did what our mothers did. You know, like my mother, my father died when I was 3. She had stair steppers. I was 3, my sister was 4, my brother was 5. So, now she is this single mom, 3 kids, a young widow. She's grieving herself, but yet she has to maintain for her children. She can't break down, because if she broke down, where would we be? You know what I'm saying? And so I saw her be a superwoman. I saw my grandmother be a superwoman. I can't really say that any woman in my family I did not see step up to the plate and do what they had to do for their children or for the family in general. So that was that was the norm for us.
So then Dejana,
Hmm.
and I want to say we were pacing, walking up down Rosemary, trying to get her to come down and had his
Hmm.
baby.
No, that was Kyla.
Kyla,
Kyla.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
because
is she gonna
Dejana
come?
was, huh?
I said, was she gonna come or not?
Who, Dejana?
No,
Okay.
Kyla.
Kyla took a minute. Honey, we walked because Kyla was 2 days late. So it took a minute for her to decide she ready for the world. And then even after we got to the hospital, she still was like, nah, I'm not quite ready. They had to induce my labor because I had started to dilate, but only to a certain point. It's like she got to a certain point and was like, I'm good. I'm gonna stay here for a while.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I walked every. Remember, we went to the mall. I walked all around the mall. I mean, I was walking for days, and she still was like, "No, I'm not ready."
Dejana ended up was born the day after the 4th, right?
Yes, I was determined for her to have her own birthday, so I sat there in labor all day and wouldn't tell nobody. I don't think I was fooling anybody because all the females kept looking at me and smirking. So I think they kind of knew. But yeah, until about 11 o'clock that night, then I was like, okay, I'm ready to go to the hospital. Hmm.
Haley, I don't. Now that I think about it, I don't think I was here when Haley was born.
Mm,
I think I was down south.
yeah, no, you were here. Were you were down south before Myron, right?
I went down, then came back for my parents' renewal ceremony, and then he left with me.
Okay,
So
because she was
I
only about
originally
a year.
left going down south in 2005.
She was born in 2004.
Okay.
But I know at the renewal, the wedding renewal, vow renewal, she was only a little over a year because she had just started walking.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
you,
what does it feel like to be a mother of 3 grown girls?
child, you couldn't tell me I'm a mother of 3 grown girls. And I'm still in that parenting mode. I don't think you ever really get out of it. Um, but I am trying to realize that they're grown. And so I'm trying not to sweat the decisions they make for their life. It's their life. So, okay. I think I'm just trying to basically let them know I'm here. And I try to lead and guide them. I have things that I say to them, but I try not to harp on it because I say it to you. You hear me? You listening? Yeah, mom, listening. Okay, and I might have to say it again. You listen, but after that third time, honey, you on your own. Go ahead and do you. You know, because we will stress ourselves out trying to get them to do it our way. So, but we are individuals, so everybody have to find their own path. What worked for me may not work for them. I just have to trust and believe that The foundation that I gave them is a sure foundation, and that they'll be able to reach out for help if need be.
Myron asked the question: have you ever got to sit at the grown folks table?
Honey, when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, y'all know when we were having family gatherings, the elders sat at the table, and
Yes.
everybody else found a spot wherever it was. We was from the basement all the way up, because it was nothing for 100 of us to be together at a family gathering, over. So the elders sat at the table, and we have so many elders that I think I was maybe in my early 30s when I was like, wow, I finally get to sit at
Sit
the
at the
adult
table.
table, right? Mm-hmm.
And the older ones, okay, so we had the elders, so we had to break it down for all those who don't have this type of family.
Right.
So because our family was so big, and certain people had, the space for it, um, everybody to do the potluck, you already know what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad was the spaghetti. It was what else did he used to bring? Like this was all he was making every time.
Every time.
And so after dinner was done, that everybody was setting up the plates and all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The certain age bracket under the elders, you on
Mm-hmm.
kitchen duty.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The ones under them was living room, dining room, taking
Clean up
off
and
everything,
everything.
putting it, take it to the kitchen. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
cleaned up before you left the house.
Right.
One we wasn't leaving the house
Oh no, you
like
can't go over
no.
nobody's house and then after 100 people that sat down and ate and ran around and played games, and you just gonna walk up and leave it as it. No, they didn't play that. Mm-mm. So after dinner, uh, the ones up under the elders would go in and pack up the food and get everything cleaned up. We would have to make sure the paper plates and cups was thrown away and the drinks that wasn't drunk was dumped out, and everything was bagged up and stuff like that. And so everybody had their role. Nobody really just sat there and did nothing because they would call you on it.
Right. Even in when we went to the houses, when we went to Belle Isle,
Hmm.
family reunions,
Oh yeah.
um, those the things, oh my God, I miss the most.
I know.
And we had the volleyball game every year,
Hmm.
East Side versus West
Versus
Side,
West Side. Hmm. Right.
and if we would play until the street lights came on.
Oh
This
yeah.
this was a known thing that our
Hmm.
family did was East Side West Side versus on volleyball. We
Hmm.
had the potato sacks, we had the hula hoops, you name it,
Yes.
dance offs, different
Yes.
spots they would go
Used to
play
go chairs.
basketball.
Yeah, we had
And
all
we
that.
always had the spot right next to the big spot next across the street from the Giant Slide, especially
Hmm.
on Belle Isle.
Right.
So those moments, I know with the pandemic, I know with how life is has changed.
Hmm.
A lot of family members are not gathering anymore for health reasons.
Hmm.
Um, but that was the thing that made us, and this is what I'm saying this too, is the things that we learned as kids, adults, we pass on to our children. So
Right.
what are something that you learned from grandma or your even your mom that you
Hmm.
have passed on to your daughters?
Cooking.
I was gonna get to that.
Cooking. Being willing to help each other. I've always, whether we feel like it or not. A lot of times I saw my mom, they would call her, they loved her bread pudding and her sweet potato pies and her cakes. So a lot of times I would see family members call her up and be like, I wish I had one of your bread puddings. I ain't had one of them in so long. And she'll be like, okay, well, when you want to pick it up, just get me the stuff and I'll cook it for you. And not really charging them anything extra other than get your ingredients. I'll cook it for you. And um, sometimes she'll wake up, she'll be tired, she didn't feel like it. But because they were family, they were her loved ones, she went in and made it a labor of love for them. You know, sewing, she sold a lot. So it was always at prime time. Somebody needs something tacked on their dress. They needed this, they needed that. And so during prime time, I used to see her put stuff in her purse or in the car. Like, why's she taking that stuff? And sure enough, like when Tiffany and Taisha graduated, I forget which one needed a handbag to go with their dress. And sure enough, my mother had that handbag, I think, in her car already just in case somebody needed it, and they did. So it was that always willing to help spirit, always,
Hmm.
you know so always willing to go the extra mile for those you love.
I think I had some things, hymns,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
and I want to say something with my prom dress as well.
Hmm.
Um, but cooking,
Cooking, yes.
honey, if y'all don't know, I probably can. She probably can doctor up dog food.
Oh Lord, she probably could, but thank God she didn't do that to us.
I'm talking about you.
Oh, me? No, I think between my brother and sister, I am the worst. They say no, but I say yes. But
On
all
cooking.
three of us on cooking, all three of us could cook. All three of us could burn. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever wanted that.
But I think you would be surprised if I say Tim is one of the best. He had that place.
He used to tell me or take a picture of his food like you
Hmm.
cooking steak, you doing this, you doing that. Like wow, I didn't know.
Yeah. Look like you went in a restaurant and ordered it. No. Hmm. Yeah. So he definitely, but we all, my mother knew how to season her food.
Right.
She was saying it's the process. A lot of people don't take time to do the process right. It makes a difference. So when she was making her cakes, she did it a certain way. When she's making the bread puddings or the sweet potato pies, she would add each ingredient in at a certain time and mix it well,
Well, yeah.
Right. So
So
she
okay,
would
okay,
add.
okay. Let's ask this question because I'm getting excited
Mhm.
about this food. So between your mama and my daddy with the food, who you
Mhm.
think was the best?
They had their own dishes. Now they both could burn. They both, but I still would say my mama uh dressing was better.
I
They
don't even
sweet.
see daddy didn't. I mean, he did dressing, but that's not. That wasn't his. Yeah, that wasn't it.
Yeah. Now they went head up on the sweet potato
Yes.
pies, but he only could go head up with her because he learned her recipe. I don't know if he told y'all that, but she will get this crusty top over her sweet potato pies. So when you bite in it, it's like a little small crunch. And Uncle Ronnie couldn't do that at first, but then he slipped up and found out her secret. So they would do some battles over there, but he would make like an egg custard pie
Yep.
and stuff. Okay, so he had her on that.
So he got the egg custard and I want to say lemon meringue
Yeah.
from Reverend Ford
Hmm. Right.
because people don't realize Reverend Ford could burn in that kitchen
Burn.
too.
Yeah, Reverend Ford could
Definitely
cook.
with the pies. And
Hmm.
so Dad took the tutelage from him,
Hmm.
and then next thing you know, he the pie man.
Right. So when it came to sweet potato pies and bread pudding, I would say my mama. But when it came to lemon meringue and egg custard pies, Uncle Rodney definitely. Yeah.
Um, so we come from a praying family, those who love God,
Mhm.
um, those who believe in really being with family. We
Mhm.
come from strong women that
Yeah.
don't take no junk from nobody at all.
At all.
Um, we come from a cooking family.
Mhm.
Um, and I want to get into your later life now
Okay.
because I was just ordained as a minister in May.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. And so prior to that, it was finding out who you are in God, right?
Mhm. Right.
And sometimes with you being in church all your life, that's all it is you going to church.
Mhm.
You don't have that relationship not for real with God until you have a moment probably outside of the church.
Mhm.
And you're in a spot and it's lovely to me of you finding out what's your purpose.
Mhm.
Who are you?
Who am I? Yeah.
And so what does that moment look like for you?
Wow. I'm still finding out who I am. I think in Christ we are ever growing.
Hmm.
So who I was in Christ 10 years ago is not who I am in Christ now. Who I am in Christ now will not be who I am 10 years from now. So we are ever growing. Um, Now, what it looks like at this point in time, it looks like peace. It looks like joy. Not not because I don't face adversity, but I know who has my back. And when he is for me, when God is for me, he's more than the world against me. So who can defeat me? Who can harm me? Who can overtake me when I have God on my side? That's who I am now. Even though life is not perfect, I may not have everything I want, but yeah, I can still walk around, I can still laugh, I can still smile, I can still sing. Though it may make your ears bleed, I can still sing to the glory of God because of who he is. And when you realize who he is, when you realize his majesty and glory, it keeps you in awe a lot of times. Like, you know, be like, oh God, really? Because he'll show up and show out for you.
Absolutely. So we've
Mm.
had conversations and it used to like um at first blow my mind because I wasn't expecting it, right?
Hmm.
And you'll tell me something and be like, wait, what? Huh? And you be like, God gonna do it for you. God gonna do this. And I'm like, huh? Wait,
Hmm.
what?
Right.
But I'm encouraged to see that you are becoming what I saw years ago.
Oh, really? Well, thank you.
Um, there was never a moment, even in the prayer circle, just like my brother. I
Hmm.
know you on here, brother. Is still gonna preach the word. How about that?
Yes, he is.
Second of all, when they would ask us like who's gonna pray over the food, who's gonna do this and that, it was always Shawnee, it was always grandma, or it was
Hmm.
always Myron.
Right.
And I'm saying it again, Myron. So even though we don't know all that we are and all we're going to become, but we have seen glimpses of ourselves and God
Yeah.
even when we were younger.
Yes. I
You
was.
have
I.
always been that leader for me. You were
Mm.
already evangelizing me back then.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, glory to God.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Hmm.
I was already in your stepping in your footsteps.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
Girl,
girl, you never know who's watching you. You never know. That's why it behooves you to walk right, to be, righteous, to talk right, to act the way he calls you to act, to speak the way he calls you to speak. Because you never know when your word or your very actions will encourage somebody else to come to God. You know what I'm saying? So and not that we're perfect. We fall down. We have hard days. We have to go back to the Lord and say, Lord, forgive me because we just missed the mark, because we just feeling emotional or whatever that day. But it's not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about when I fall down, do I stay down or do I get back up, ask the Lord for forgiveness and say, okay, Lord, you have to be consistent in this race with God. David wasn't perfect, so he was a man after God's own heart. He wasn't perfect. David did some things. King David in the Bible, he did some things, honey. But when, you know, like when he wanted Bathsheba in the Bible, and he put her husband on the front line and had him killed so that he could have this man's wife. You know what I'm saying? But when the prophet came and told him about himself, he didn't say, "Well, I'm king. I can do whatever I want." He immediately had a repentant heart and turned back to God, and that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to walk the way, be obedient and walk the way He calls us. And when we fall down, turn to Him, ask for forgiveness, lean and depend on Him, and keep it moving, keep it going.
Absolutely. Even in those tough moments, even though some of my family members couldn't be at the ordination, they were there in spirit watching it live, right?
Yes, and you didn't even know it, did you?
Did not know it till the next day or 2 days later. Like, yeah, we watched it. We was all like, wait, what? And
Mm-hmm.
so those moments, I cannot remember any moment that was significant to me that I didn't have a family member there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the same thing with you. Like I said, I've been watching you for years, and I don't always say it, but I
Mm-hmm.
chose you for a reason.
Right.
That the moments when I couldn't find my way, I always
Mm-hmm.
had a way to come back home. You were home to me. I
Right.
told you you was my pillow between you and
Mm-hmm.
Cam, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't even know how many times they got kicked in the head or knocked out of the bed, whatever, the couch, however, or
Had
they
a
would
half a
find me on
concussion.
top of them.
Right.
That was my comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Again, those moments of when I just in life in general, you were already married before me. I was
Mm-hmm.
already watching.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have to say a word. I'm just
Right.
watching how you catered to your family. I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
Even in those moments that wasn't so up, I was watching.
Right.
And I said this when I first started, before all the echoing. I wanted to pin you with your flowers because you meant the world and you still mean the world to me.
Oh, thank you.
So it's beyond just being a cousin. You are literally my sister. Um, I don't know anything different.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to share God with you.
Oh, yes,
Those
definitely.
moments of who am I? So
Mm-hmm.
I get to share, which is funny to me, encouraging you in this walk of don't be afraid of their faces. Just say it. Um, you'll find God in everything.
Oh, yes.
Just look.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so even in this walk, in this season of your life, guess what? I'm still watching.
That's all right. Yo,
Um, so those moments again of hold on. Can you hear me? You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So those moments of even if you never get the pat on the back, if nobody ever says anything, again, Leah's putting flowers out there and hearts.
Oh,
Uh,
hey, Leah.
I'm definitely gonna let you know that yes, people are watching you.
Yeah.
I'm taking my pen and my notebook and I'm taking notes from your life.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay,
one
girl. Don't be
moment,
making me.
it's the truth.
Mhm.
The moment that solidified you to me, not just because, but when I put and I no, the day of the funeral of my dad,
Mhm.
I wasn't sure what to expect.
Okay. Mhm.
I'm sitting on the road and I'm seeing all these people walk past me while I'm looking but not looking at them.
Mhm.
And I'm like, in my head, I got to step up. I'm the oldest. I got to do this. I got to do that.
Mhm.
And everybody else walking past me. But when I saw you and you hugged me, it seemed like all in one moment, time has stood still. And I felt like right then I was going to be okay. I didn't want to let you go. They literally had to pry my hands
I know.
off of you.
Right. Well, them moments could be difficult because it's just so much pressure. You really do want to break down. This is someone you love tremendously, and now they're gone, and you're facing a lot of things at the funeral. You're facing a life without them, and you want to make sure that the send off you give them is worthy of them, and so it's a lot of pressure. You want to make sure everything is right, and then when you come across that person that's your comfort zone, you feel like, okay, I can have my moment to release because they're going to hold it together for me. If I can't hold it together, they're going to step in, and it's going to be all right until I can get myself together and come back and finish. So and I think all of us have those people in our life, you know uh, like you, my sister Pam, are those people for me that I feel like, okay, if I break down in the second, they gonna step in front of me, block me, give me a minute to breathe, and continue on. Then somebody gonna turn around. You all right? I'm good. Okay, come on, honey. We got to get this going. It's important to have people in your life that will allow you to break for a moment, but just for a moment, and then help put you back together. Come on, girl. I remember when after I had Haley, excuse me, I went into a postpartum depression for several months. But it was really my sister. She didn't judge me, but she would come over and she would take Haley and she'd be like, okay, go on and get your shower. And it wasn't like we lived around the corner from each other, you know. But for a couple of weeks, she came over almost every day. Well, go ahead and take your shower. and put you some clean clothes on. Did you have anything to eat yet? Or she would bring me something, and she would sit there and talk to me. And all of this will only take like a half an hour, 45 minutes. But it gave me a chance to breathe, to feel normal, to say, okay. And so then the day she came over and I was already up, dressed, had took my shower and ate something. And she was like, "Oh, you looking good. Okay." And so it was a few days in between. Then she came back or she called. But she just her constant presence of saying, "Come on, let's do this." It got me going again where I was stagnated before. So we all need someone in our life that could give us those moments.
Yeah, we need a moment, a breather,
Mhm.
and someone to confide in,
Mhm.
because sometimes life can be overwhelming.
Yes, it can.
And in those overwhelming, if you don't have that outlet, we can make wrong decisions,
Mhm.
put ourselves in the trap,
Mhm.
and we don't want to do that. But again, I want to let you know that it's not just me. It's plenty of people who are watching you.
Mhm.
Um, I just told you this the other day. Like, the glue, especially in my immediate circle,
Mhm.
um, and seeing the progress of your family,
Mhm.
and knowing that you pray. That's it for me.
I was right. Well, I couldn't do it without prayer. I'm telling you right now, I did not do this on my own. You, nobody could really know how many nights you cry on your face, praying to God, Lord, work it out. Lord, help me. Lord, see me through this. And but I come from a family of praying women, so I knew who to turn to in those dark moments. And so the women in the family was the glue for me. And so I am glad that I'm able to do for you and for others what they have done for me through their example. And so, and because I am that example for you in your life, those women and young girls in your life, you would then turn around and be the example for, you know, especially when they know some of the things that you had to face and you're still saying, "Thank you, God." You're still able to walk and laugh and have a good time and not be. Some people are looking for you to be defeated, but you won't be. We won't be. As long as we trust and depend on the Lord, He got us. And when you know this, you know, when you know that you know it, can't nothing come in and knock you off your square, defeat you. So I say, it's just the glory of God in my life. It's the light shining through. All that you see, that you say you're watching, all the good, that's God.
Absolutely. I know there was a moment where I think you passed out at the wheel
Mhm.
at a car accident.
Mhm.
And when they told me, it was one of those moments like, I need you to sit down because I got to tell you something.
I actually fell asleep. Mhm.
And I was like, what? Shawnee been in the car accident, da 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 da. Da. What?
Mhm.
And at a quick glance in my brain, I was just like, is she okay? Is she what? What are you trying to tell me?
Mhm.
And I was scared for a moment because I was like, nah. And then there was health scares as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is like your first diagnosis. Was it hypertension?
Hypoglycemia.
And so
Well,
I
my
didn't know what that was.
mhm. It's when your blood sugar drops very low, and
But
so
back
my
then, nobody really was talking about that. So I had no clue, no idea what
hmm
that was and
right.
what that looked like. And so all I
Girl, I had some
knew,
episodes. Mhm.
especially when it was in the hot church,
Mhm.
and they'd be like, Shawnee done passed out. What you mean? Huh?
Right.
And so I don't even know where that part came from.
Mhm.
All I keep hearing right now is what you saw back then, you won't see no more.
No.
And it's the education.
Mhm.
You are a grandma now. So are you
Yes, I
saying
am.
grandma? What are you saying?
Grammy.
Grammy.
That's what they
So
want him to call me up.
how does that feel being a grandma now?
Honey, I don't even know yet. He 2 months old. So I don't know if it's really sunk in yet. I've seen them several times, but she stay on the east side and I'm all the way west. But I, I I'm telling you, it's a protective thing that comes over you though. Like I ain't nobody hurting this one. You know, you um, and when he smiled at you, it's just he just make you smile. And a lot of times I'm talking to Kyla on the phone, and I say put the phone up to his ear, and I get to talking, and he get loud, and she say he waving his hands and kicking his feet. I was like, that's because he know his Grammy, but but yeah, we
She's saying right now he talking to you. He can hear your voice.
oh she on there, yeah.
Yes.
hmm She say whenever you hear my voice, he get that moving around,
Hmm.
but that's my baby.
Well, I'm glad to be able to go down memory lane and to help for those. Um, One of the things about this podcast that I love is when I started, God told me to start in my inner circle first.
hmm
That I have some dope people right here.
Right,
While
amazing
some
story.
people looking way over there in Hollywood or Atlanta, whatever,
hmm
you got dope people in your family, you have dope people from your neighborhood, all types of stuff. Start with
hmm
them first.
Right.
And although I didn't start with you,
hmm
this timing was perfect.
Girl, I was trying to dodge you, but you
I'm
wouldn't
sure
let
you
me.
was. Like many on here.
hmm But I was like, well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna support her in what she needs me to support her in. So if she want me on the show, I'm coming. But honey, you know me. I always say I'm not a talker. I don't like to get up and talk.
I
But
can't tell.
I stopped saying that so much now because my family would not let me be quiet. They would not allow it. Especially my mother, she would not allow it. She get up and have words. Get up and say something. But
Always.
it kept me, it kept me moving. It kept me growing. It kept me going. So yeah.
You can't help it.
Now when you get me talking about God, I can't help it. It spills out. I'm like I'm a
But
chatterbox.
I truly enjoyed this conversation. I
I
hope that
did.
everybody that was on who would like, share, subscribe, did all of that, got the sense of the importance of having somebody in your corner, having
Yeah.
somebody before you who's laying the foundation for you. Did I do everything right? No. Did
Hmm.
she do everything right? No.
No.
But in those moments of from me being a kid to an adult, I know she's been consistent. Um, and that's the part that I understand the most is the consistency of being showing love. Um, Showing love is most important that you can do for anyone. Um, when they have that moments of breaking down in life, whatever the case may be, have you somebody that understands you and won't judge you, and it'll get better for you. So I'm appreciative that my cousin came through, my sister, um, and to give her flowers now, to understand that we might not talk all the time, we might not see each other all the time, but she's still one of my favorites. Always will, always have been. And in those moments when I needed her the most, even when our family members passed away, she has always been my comfort zone. And so now seeing her, being the wife, being the sister, the mother, and now the grandma, is amazing. So, you guys, I'm not sure what happened with her phone, but however, please like, share, subscribe, do all of that. Um, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You are literally one person away, one advice away, and one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. Proven facts. Again, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I won't see you again. I have one show this Sunday at 5 o'clock, which is a special one. You want to join in again. Look for the notification on Facebook. Look for the notification on YouTube. Again, I love you guys, and I'll see you. Peace.